Morning, everybody. Welcome back to MUFC vs. Everybody. I'm Sean, your host. Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you being here. Just wanted to stop by this morning, obviously, to give everyone today's news roundup regarding Manchester United and a little bit of football news in general. Let me just fit my screen here so I can read my notes. A little bit of news today, a little bit of transfer news, and then we're going to come back a little later on today with some more exploration of a lot of these managers that we've been linked with over the recent months. Now, this not me saying I want HAG out. This not me saying I want such and such manager. And this is, again, kind of like transfer targets or the priority positions we talked about the other week. This is just me taking a look at some of the managers that we've been heavily linked with and then just kind of exploring, their qualifications, their history, what they bring to the table, and all that. So if you were here for that video yesterday, if you haven't yet watched that, go check it out. I talked a lot about HAG because we want to put him under the same microscope as we do these other ones. But then I also explored Graham Potter as well because he's been heavily linked with us. So this afternoon, keep a lookout for the next one. That'll pop up a little later. But for now, let's get stuck into today's news roundup. If you want to leave some comments, let me know what you think. Please do. I'm always happy to hopefully interact with everybody. But don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get started. First things first, a little bit of bittersweet news, but I don't know if you remember from the Burnley match on the weekend. So there was some footage going around of a Burnley fan in the stands, kind of giving it to United fans, but he was mocking the Munich air tragedy with, the airplane gesture that we've seen many, many times. Obviously, it's a disgusting thing to do, and we were all hoping that, something would happen, and it has. So according to The Athletic, they reported yesterday that a 44-year-old man has been charged with tragedy chanting after a person was filmed during our Premier League game with Burnley on Saturday. So a man in the away section of the stadium was filmed mocking the Munich air disaster, and the video was widely circulated, like I said, on social media. So a spokesperson for the Greater Manchester Police said, "We can confirm that we have charged," I'm not going to say his name, you guys can look it up. So they have charged the individual with Section 5 of the Public Order Act 1986 and has since been bailed. So this charge is after our specialist operational football and guest investigation team made an arrest of a man in the away section of Old Trafford towards the end of our fixture. So the person in question has been identified and been charged with tragedy chanting. So justice has been served. I'll never understand why people do that, whether it's racism or mocking disasters like this, or people who give Liverpool like a Hillsborough chance. I just don't understand it. I mean, I doubt that a lot of these people actually mean these things. Like they actually think that, it's funny or whatever. It's just people will say whatever they can to try to hurt people in the worst ways possible. And that's unfortunate. And I think the saddest part about this is a 44-year-old man. I don't understand. Like, this is a grown adult with children, and this is the kind of example he's setting for his children. This is the kind of example that he's putting out there for rivalries and fans. I get that tribalism is in football, but let's keep it civil at least. So bittersweet, like I said. Moving on, we'll talk about a little transfer news. Some Uppeteers reports that Jean-Claire Todibo, obviously French centerback with Nice, the team that Sir Jim owns as well. Todibo remains of interest to United this summer, according to the Uppeteers. The price is expected to be around that 40 million euro mark, which isn't a bad price in today's market. I think that it's definitely worthwhile. I think if you get someone like Todibo, who has looked really, really good, he's a good age. But then you also maybe look for someone like for free, like Tosin Adarabioyo at Fulham, or like a Lloyd Kelly, someone who can come in and kind of raise the floor in terms of our depth a little bit. I think that would be a beautiful summer in terms of center backs. But there are other clubs that are interested in Todibo, of course. I think he was linked with Atletico a little while ago. But the multi-club ownership shouldn't be an issue. We just need to be able to we prove that we pay fair value for him, fair market value, or else we're going to get in some trouble. But that doesn't seem to stop other teams. Man City, sorry, allergies. I'm allergic to cheating. So keep an eye on that one. Moving on to some more transfer news. Italian journalist Matteo Moretto is reporting that United are interested in Barcelona defender Ronald Araujo. We've talked about this one before. I like Araujo. He's young. He's got a mistake in him, as we saw. He got sent off in Champions League not that long ago. No, it wasn't Champions League. It was I think it was the Clasico. I think I was watching that one. Let me know for sure. I get them all blurred together. My buddy's a Madrid fan. He would let me know. Barcelona are, though, in desperate need of money. They need to sell players. They've been selling everything under the sun at the stadium. They've done weddings there. They've renamed the stadium. They're doing everything they can. If an important offer arrives, according to Moretto, for Araujo in the summer, Barcelona will consider doing a deal. Graham Bailey adds that, while some at Barcelona think it would be sensible to sell Araujo, Xavi would actually prefer to keep him. Now, a lot of this is going to depend on whether or not Xavi sticks around. I know there's been a lot of talk recently that he will end up staying. We will see. And then finally, with that, Caught Offside has also added that United are ready to speak to Araujo's agent as well. So he would be a little more expensive, I think. Between him and Todibo, I'd probably still stick with Todibo and maybe get someone on a free. We don't have a ton of money to spend. It is a priority position. I do think we need 2 center backs, but we need to also be smart because we have other priority positions, and we can't afford to keep spending too much on one player or too much on an unnecessary player, maybe not priority-wise, and then missing out on key positions like we've been doing for years. Too many right wingers bought. We bought Mason Mount, who's not a bad player. I have nothing against Mason Mount, but he wasn't a priority position for us, and we needed to strengthen in other areas, and we can't keep affording to do that. So see what happens there. According to Caught Offside still, so United are also interested in Brighton midfielder Carlos Baleba. He's 20 years old. He's Cameroonian. He just joined Brighton this summer after they lost Moises Caicedo. He's kind of a young Caicedo replacement. So the outlet claims that United are among a group of top Premier League clubs that are interested in Baleba heading into this transfer window. It's reported that Brighton would be willing to listen to offers of £55 million for this guy. So they just bought him, and they did, by their standards, they did spend a bit on it. I think they spent like £23 million on him this summer. But trying to double your money after one season is a bit insane. But we'll see. I mean, they're well within their rights. They are a selling club. It's what they do. Lille, the interesting part too, so they bought him from Lille this summer. Lille also have a 15% sell-on clause, which is probably a lot to do with the higher price. Brighton want to make sure they get the max they can. So keep an eye on that one. I think that when it comes to defensive midfield position, we need someone who's got a little bit more, I don't want to say experience because I don't mean like old, but I mean leadership, like Morten Hillman or Mats Beefer. Those guys, yeah, they're young, they're 23, 24, but they also show an experience and a leadership beyond their years, which is kind of what we really want in that position right now. So keep an eye on this one as well. A little bit of injury news. I don't want to keep banging on about our injuries. My thoughts on our injuries and the grace I give Ten Hag in that regard is well documented. But someone did post on Twitter recently the exact numbers regarding our defensive injuries, and it's worth sharing because it is a bit eye-opening. So Jling7 has posted that we've had no left backs in 27 out of our 47 games played. So out of those games, the person who's lined up at left back has not been a left back, period, because we were missing Malacia, missing Shaw for most of the season, obviously. And we only played 5 games with Martinez and Varane as our partnership. So 5 matches with our best center back pairing. Again, this is where I give grace. I also a little bit criticism of Ten Hag. If you don't have your center back pairing, as we have seen here, you can't play that way you want to play. You're going to have to just suck it up and play a different style. But people who criticize and say, what is his style? I don't see his style. Well, we don't see it because he doesn't have his players for it. We've been missing our best center back pairing all season pretty much. So what do people expect? City lose Rodri to suspension and they lose 3 out of those 4 matches. I mean, Newcastle have injuries. Liverpool fans went on and on a few years back when Varane picked up that serious injury, missed the entire season, and a lot of them pointed to that as a big collapse. Like Liverpool fans again complain, when Salah went off in that Champions League final against Real Madrid, that's the reason they lost. Well, this is the point. You have an important player. I get you have to work around it if you lose that player, but at the same time, an important player for your system is an important player for your system. Can't be one rule for one club and one rule for another. So give Ten Hag a bit of grace in that regard. We have some more news today, with some talk popping up in the media about Ajax keeping an eye on Erik Ten Hag's current situation. So Dutch journalist Mike Verwijs. So I'm not trying to be funny about it. I'm butchering that name. A lot of the Dutch names are difficult because sometimes the W's sound like V's and sometimes you don't pronounce the J. It's really interesting. In any case, I'm going to move on before I dig myself into a hole there. So the information that he has is that Graham Potter is not number one at Ajax. He's on the list. He's not number one priority. So Ajax want Erik Ten Hag, and Alex Kroos, Ajax technical director, who also shares the same agency as Ten Hag, the SEGs. He's willing to wait for Ten Hag to return to Ajax because he's number one on his list. Obviously, Ten Hag was outstanding as Ajax manager, but I do feel like he is a bit too ambitious as a manager to go back to Ajax. He left for United because he wanted to step up. I don't see him going back to Ajax personally, but we'll see. Ajax are going to be working hard to bring in a new manager, though, and they'll want to make sure they get it right this time. Maybe we've seen other clubs do this before. Chelsea have gone back to Mourinho a couple times. It happens. I just don't see on Ten Hag's end. I don't see it happening, but it's interesting. Sticking with Ten Hag for a minute, Ben Jacobs has also chimed in to rubbish suggestions that Jason Wilcox has told Ten Hag to play more possession style. Jacobs states that while Wilcox does tend to be more hands-on in his approach as technical director, he's only just joined United and he's still getting to know the club. It's still early days for him. So Ben Jacobs adds that Wilcox hasn't really had any influence over Ten Hag yet since he just joined the club, like I just said. If you remember from another one of my roundup videos when some of this stuff first came up, I did mention this talk of Wilcox that Ten Hag play a new style. And then you remember that I was skeptical of that rumor because I pointed out, I just like Ben Jacobs is saying, I don't see how someone who's just showed up is already telling Ten Hag how to play. It doesn't sound you don't hear that happening at any other club. No one had ever put that out there, but of course it's United. They're going to put it out there. So that's what I do for y'all. I sift through the BS, give you the legit news, and then I give my perspective on it. And this is why we do that. So don't believe everything you read when it comes to the Ten Hag stuff because it's going to be sensational. It's going to be on the extreme. So just look at it with a bit of objectivity and a bit of common sense, and I think that you will save yourself a lot of stress. And finally, in a bit of positive news regarding our youngsters, this is kind of breaking news since the match is still ongoing right now. So United's U21s are playing Southampton's U21s this morning. When I came up here, it was halftime, I believe. But Ethan Wheatley he scored 2 goals in 2 minutes against Southampton today. He's got it, man. I mean, I know it's still early days. We've only seen a few minutes of him, but look at the way he's playing in the U team. Look at what he did when he came on against Sheffield United. He has energy, relentlessness. He's got that fight, that attitude in him. And he's scoring goals for fun right now. And we've seen this with other young players as well, and who have moved on to the first team. They just look like they're way ahead of the U21s and are ready for this. I'm not saying he's going to be a star. I'm not going to say he's coming to make an instant impact, but he looks like he's ready to come in and start rotating as striker. And we need some help. I'm not saying we need to put all the pressure on him and he's the answer, but we do need some help. And hopefully we can make him a big part of preseason. Hopefully we can see him start similar like Kobbie Mainoo and Garnacho the year before. So it's a bit fun, right? So that's going to do it for us on the roundup today. What do you guys like of this jersey? This is one of my favorite United jerseys, by the way. I was looking at this in the camera a little bit. Does any player come to mind when you look at this? This is a 09-010 2010 away jersey, right? Honestly, the first player I think of when I think of this jersey is Nani for some reason. I would love to get this in a long sleeve. That'd be great. It's really difficult to find though, but I think this chevron. I like the chevron design and the colors are legit. So, what are some of your favorite United strips from the past? I love the 93, 94. I have one up here. You can't see it. It's one of my first jersey I ever got when I was younger. It's a Cantona, the black jersey from the 93, 94 season. I've got it up on the wall. You can see the Giggs jersey. I got a lot of them. And I know you guys are probably watching these videos like, man, how many jerseys this guys have? Trust me, you have not even seen a tip. It's tip of the iceberg with what I've got. I'm a little bit ashamed to say how many jerseys I have, but I've got a few. Obviously, most of them are United jerseys. I've got a few. Obviously, you saw some local clubs. I've got like a, a Netherlands jersey from the '88 Euros in there somewhere. A Madrid jersey lying around. U.S. jersey, U.S. men's national team jersey as well. But and no, before you ask, I don't buy my United jerseys from United Direct or the Mega Store. I don't give the club, or at least I don't give the Glazers any of my money. My jerseys come from eBay, and I just look around throughout the week, and if I find a good deal, I find a good deal. So let me know your thoughts, what your favorite jerseys are, what player you think of when you see this jersey, and what you think of the news today. What do you think of Ten Hag rumors? What do you think of the center backs we've been linked with? Don't forget to drop a like on the video. Don't forget to leave a comment, please. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, most importantly. And then go check me out on UFC vs. Everybody on Twitter. I've had a few things to say about some of our non-penalty calls the last few days. So go be sure to check that out and let me know what you think. And be sure to come back a little later on for a peek at the next manager on our list in the series. I won't spoil it now, but you can come back and check it out a little later on. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.